Birmingham, the second largest city in Britain, a centre of industry. I've come here to find out how the global financial crisis and the recession are changing people's lives. Birmingham has seen tough times before. Industrial manufacturing has been in decline for decades. So how much worse is the current crisis making things? Last year, unemployment climbed to over 11%. I'm wondering if anyone here believes that prosperity will be restored. Sid Blenkiron is one of those whose situation has been made worse by the downturn. He is unemployed. In the current economic situation, he has little hope of finding a new job.
The fact of the matter is that I am effectively out of work for 2.5 years. I am desperately keen to get back into work, and nobody wants to employ me on a long-term contract or permanent basis. And emotionally, that destroys me.
5 members of Sid Blenkiron's family are also struggling to find work. The frustration is beginning to take its toll.
I am not doing what I should be doing. I am not doing what I want to be doing. My immediate family are not doing what they want to do either. And that brings with it pressures that have not been known in the family. And that's where I think the issues are. On a personal level, that's where they are for me. 4.5 miles.
Fortunately, he says he owns the house he lives in. That gives him a little security. Down the road is Longbridge, where Sid used to work. I'm shown the site by David Bailey, an academic who has studied Birmingham's changing economy.
So there's this long legacy of over-reliance on big manufacturing, and there's been actually relatively high unemployment. The current situation is even more difficult because we're seeing a general decline in the economy. It's having a big impact on manufacturing in the car industry, which is still hugely important in Birmingham. And so that's adding to the kind of numbers unemployed. And those people are competing with people who were already unemployed. So it's a very difficult situation for many workers that they now find themselves in.
The Longbridge car plant was once Britain's biggest factory. Now much of it has been demolished. Foreign firms have bought up what remains. Could that be a sign of hope as the economic storm rages?
The Chinese are now taking over MG Rover. They're producing cars on a small scale, but they're hoping to restart production on a bigger scale in 2010. And most importantly, they brought research and development back here. So in many ways, this represents the hope for the future. The Chinese are investing research and development back at Longbridge, maybe a future for MG again.
But right now, that future seems out of reach. Normally, hundreds of vehicles would be parked here at the LDV van factory. But the firm is in trouble. Last December, 2/3 of its 850 workers were sent home. Marketing Director Guy Jones shows me around.
So this is the special vehicle operations.
He tells me the market for commercial transport vehicles is 50% down as a result of the economic crisis. LDV is running out of money, but Guy Jones does his best to accentuate the positive.
You've got the manufacturers that are based here building world-leading products. With us, the Jaguar Land Rover, with Bentley and other manufacturers in this country. So there's an enormous amount of automotive expertise, technology here that can survive in this country, can be developed, and we can develop products for the future here.
But everyone working in this company knows it cannot survive without an injection of cash. They had hoped the British government would step in with loans to support them, but such proposals have so far been turned down. LDV should have a bright future. For example, it has developed a low-emissions transport van, the first of its kind in the world. Yet it seems that could all be thrown away.
The skills that have been built up over many, many years here in terms of the expertise in engineering, design, manufacturing, special vehicles operation. Those are all a really unique set of skills. It's a world-leading operation in terms of the customisation of the vehicles here, and those skills really will be lost for a long time if LDV were not to be here.
It's not just in the workplace that the crisis is being felt. I travel to a residential area of the city to find out how people's fear of losing their jobs is affecting communities. I've arranged to meet up with Vic Cox, who heads an organisation that supports local neighbourhoods. He still has a job at a distribution company, though he says business is down. But his 28-year-old son Lee is unemployed, even though he tells me he would be willing to do any kind of work.
Well, I go on the internet probably once every day or so, and I look in the papers and that. There's just nothing out there. You got Jaguar. I've gone to a 4-day week now, and a lot of people have been made redundant. So there's more people looking for work.
And it's desperate times. We haven't got to what it was like in the 1970s yet, but we're heading that way. And there is bad times ahead. We're coming up to the 1st of April, which is the new financial year, and that is when a lot more redundancies are going to be announced, because that's when people are going to say how much they've got to spend, and companies and big companies are going to go down.
Vic's pastor stops by. Both men see a marked decline in their community. They talk of growing problems with drugs and crime on the estate, and they link them with the financial crisis.
I actually believe, contrary to the comments made, that we're going to see even worse times before it gets better, and so it's affecting the families, it's affecting the youth, and even those who you would say were affluent are now being rocked on the rails because their savings that they were going to live on, it's no longer producing the return back, and so. This has not been known before.
The mood among people in this nearby shopping street is similarly downbeat. Two things in particular catch my eye: the many empty shops and the many pawnbrokers. What does recession mean to people here?
We've recently, last month, been asked to take a 10% pay cut in our wages because it's affecting the small firm that I work for, and that's going to hit us quite bad.
What business are you in?
It's a dry cleaning company, so it takes us right down to minimum wage now.
Many people's anger is directed against the banks and what's seen as the special treatment they have received.
When a car factory or something like that wants 3 million, they can't have it. When a bank wants 20 or 30 billion, they can have it. Well, I've never known anything like that.
A pawn shop might be an obvious place to find signs that people are struggling in the downturn. Government support for the unemployed is just £60 a week. But it seems the crisis has not filtered through to this business yet.
A lot of people that have lost their jobs at the moment have received redundancy payouts. So they're not what we'd call desperate or on the breadline yet. Maybe in the next 6 to 8 months, as that money starts to run out, we will see an upturn or a marked difference in our levels of business.
After 4 days in Birmingham, I am surprised how dark a shadow the financial crisis has already cast over the lives of many people here. And I'm left wondering whether what's happening in this city is the pattern for how the global economic downturn might soon affect many other regions around Europe.